So guys, welcome to my home. I have been living here at beautiful Nanny Key. Actually, it's not such a hardship for the last 2 weeks. Things have been absolutely insane.
Dad, I'm going on an airplane, hey? I'm leaving. This may be one of those trips of a lifetime, life-changing trip. Going to New Zealand to figure out this boat build, to talk to the yard and see if we can come to a solution. It's really exciting what's going to happen the next week here.
Bye!
Bye, guys.
Bye, Dad.
Love you.
Love you too.
Let's go back.
There's certain times in life where you make certain decisions which are huge and you have opportunities come up. And that's what I'm about to do here, hopefully. I'm going to New Zealand. I'll explain as I get there. Just imagine this. You got one NOOA over here, one NOOA over here, another NOOA 55 over here, and another one right here.
Ben has been away for 2 weeks. We don't just come into marinas willy-nilly. We have to have a really good reason. And Ben has been away, and the kids and I have been hanging out here. So why the heck has he been away? We should probably go ask him. He got back late last night, and this is where we're at.
That is how long I've been traveling. I started this stopwatch when I left New Zealand, and I've been literally traveling 53 hours to get back to the British Virgin Islands. It's been a good trip. Let's debrief you guys on that and what we have planned going forward. Like Ashley said at the beginning of the video, a lot is going on behind the scenes. So this is simply just a real-time update of what's happening aboard NOOA. It's a long flight. Vancouver had a lot of snow and everything got delayed, lost a bag. Hopefully I'll get in the next day. If you see the camera slowly tilting, it's because it's propped up on a bunch of stuff, and
Where's our...
the stand is in the bag, in the lost bag.
Things have been insane, guys. Life has been insane lately. So much has been going on in the business. So much has been going on in life and just trying to get our life organized, that it's felt a little out of control. And then Ben was away. We're here this week to spill a little bit of beans about a big secret that we've been working on.
Yeah. We're basically presented this opportunity right now to work with, some of the top-notch yards in the world and collaborate with some of the most amazing, experienced individuals in the boat building industry. So what we found is a yard in New Zealand that has been in business for 40 years. We have found a gentleman who has worked with that yard and produced a whole line of boats, and we'll get into in future videos what kind of boats those are, but they're passage-making boats designed for expeditions. This is an absolutely epic engine room on the FPV 64. We're not going to have this many systems. We're going for a more simple approach, some redundancy, but they got stabilizers in here. They've got generators and a lot of hydraulic systems. And then we have our naval architect, David de Villiers, who has worked with that yard as well. So we have this ecosystem now of people and a team that have worked together before and have a huge amount of experience. And those people we've partnered with, who will create the ultimate expedition style catamaran, and a boat, an aluminum sailing catamaran that will rival the best aluminum sailing catamaran in the market. Most likely exceed that.
So on a watertight bulkhead, when you're passing services through, you need to make sure that you're providing not only for watertight, but also for the fire rating you're looking for. So the depth of this and the mastic material that goes in here is all determined based on what you're trying to achieve there. So this usually gets filled, and this material goes in at the end once all the services have been run.
this is something that we can put out there and put our name behind because we know they have the experience and know they can produce a boat of top-notch quality on time and deliver it as they promised.
This is the ultimate. This is what we'd always hoped for and never believed we could actually get. You'll have to bear with us for a few more weeks as we get sort of the final bits in order, and hopefully we'll just leave it there, the final bits in order.
That brings us to today and what's going to happen in the next weeks, and the next months, and the next years. So I'm back aboard. Obviously, we're in the BVIs and we're going to sail the BVIs for a little bit, but we're also considering now still crossing the Pacific, because New Zealand being in the South Pacific, moving our boat closer to them will probably be a really smart decision, because flights down to where the boat's being built are going to be much quicker. Instead of those 50 hours, we'll be on possibly a direct flight to New Zealand from, say, Tahiti. So that's kind of the idea. We're probably at a 70, 30, 60, 40 chance that we'll cross the Pacific at this point. Where are we at with preparations for that, Ashley?
I bought some extra paints and some crayons. No, I mean, in terms of the NOOA, we set up a mailbox in St. Thomas. We're procuring parts. You can never plan for every unknown circumstance that may arise when you're crossing an ocean, and every part that you may need. But you can sort of think about what you've needed in the past, what you know is maybe on a bit of an older tract that may need some work in the future as you monitor it and maintain it right now. And so we're getting a few like seals, and
we've replaced all of the hatches, the loomer hatches, except the back two, and those started leaking the other day. So we're gonna have to get new hatches. I've looked at our sail drive, our autopilot, and we're gonna get a new autopilot drive, things like that. I think we're a lot less naive this time crossing the Pacific as we were last time when we first started our circumnavigation. And we're talking to Precision Sails about getting a new Code Zero. This Code Zero came aboard in New Zealand, so it's been through the Western Pacific, Papua New Guinea, Palau, Philippines, Indonesia, across the Indian Ocean, around Africa, across the Atlantic. So it's had some miles put on it, and it's shown its age. So trying to make it last for a bit longer here. It's just stuff that we know is kind of like worn and old that we're doing preventative maintenance on.
Nearing the end of its life if you're going to cross an ocean and sail that many miles. If you're just sailing in the Caribbean and only put it up every now and then, it's in perfectly good working condition. Things are absolutely insane, and you may notice that we haven't been able to keep up with our weekly videos. We were doing them bi-weekly pretty religiously up until I think last week, and then we just couldn't make it work, guys. Ben does all the editing, we do all the filming, we have no extra camera people and no extra staff and no extra editors, and it's just, life has been too insane right now, and it unfortunately has made us miss a few, sorry. But we are committed to returning to that one video every 2 weeks. We'll see what the future brings, and maybe we can do a bit more than that. So if you absolutely need that weekly fix, you can always join Patreon. Patreon is awesome. It's a wonderful community. We do lives there sometimes where we answer your questions. It's just a wonderful place where we actually put out a video every week for our patrons. They're not as polished. They're a little more rough. They're a little more real. And it's kind of fun. It's fun for us. We really enjoy those.
It's just easy.
YouTube is such a weird thing. You feel like you might get penalized for putting a video out like that on the regular YouTube. Something about algorithms and something or other.
Click-through rates on the thumbnail and
clickbait
audience
and whatever it is.
Audience retention are top things on YouTube. So, you know, we're just not able to compete with that right now. So that's why we do Patreon.
You know, people say, oh, you can't have an aluminium boat. Well, that's clearly not right, because many commercial boats, passenger ferries, and a lot of super yachts, in fact, most of the super yachts are all aluminium as well. So it's a really rugged and strong material, and it's the way of the future.
I think what we haven't seen as much is aluminum sailing catamarans. That the market has not seen. I mean, there's a few out there, but I think that wave is now kind of starting.
Definitely. So 15 years ago, we did a 62-foot sailing cat. and it's when it was launched, she was highly unusual. I mean, she also had a ketch rig, which is strange on a catamaran, and a forward cockpit, which is even more strange. But she's really stood the test of time, and people are beginning to understand how durable aluminium is and viable it is as a material for cruising boats, and particularly boats that are cruising to high latitudes.
Yeah, and I mean, there are a lot of aluminum monohull sailing cruising boats that are like expedition style, but
Correct, yes.
yeah, those have been out for decades and decades
It
and
just
decades.
hasn't translated into sailing catamarans
Yeah.
until now.
And I think probably part of that is because the production of those is a bit slower because there's no mold that then can
Yeah.
be used repeatedly and quickly for mass producing these boats.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah.
It's still labor intensive. Aluminium boat structure has a lot of longitudinal stringers and transverse frames, and there's a lot of welds that have to be done. So it's time consuming. It's not as quick as popping a production glass boat out of a mold, but the benefits after that are fairly obvious. Yeah.
Yeah.